If you find yourself with a camera in your hand and want to learn how to use it, please subscribe to this channel, like the videos, comment below. Hi Photos photographers. Today we're going to be talking about emotion, and you might be thinking, what in the world does emotion have to do with photography? Wouldn't that be something that video really does and deals with or portrays better? I'm going to suggest this here, and I'm going to get to it right off the bat. Don't believe a lie that video has some advantage over photos, still photography, however you want to compute or talk about the difference between videos, which is motion, and still photography. Now, one thing I want to get to off the bat, and we're going to be kind of going over this, and okay, here's the method to my madness. I'm going to continue saying this point after point after point. Film or videos, the motion within it, okay, let's go into a little bit of history real quick, 30 seconds. Go. Film in all areas was designed for still photography. Motion pictures is what they were called back in the 1920s and 30s, was using the same idea, technology of strips of film only exposed in very quick rates of speed, okay? There's no difference. There's no difference between photography and videos. Actually, it's kind of weird, and we'll get off time and schedule here, but motion pictures is what came to be known as movies. And movies because they were moving pictures. Now, beyond that, it became known for a lot of different things, which were called videos and everything else. So there's a whole progression there from moving pictures to movies to videos, and it's kind of interesting if you want to take some time to go back and study that. But we are photographers, not necessarily cinematographers. Wow, my tongue still doesn't want to work. Anyway, let's talk about videos, because we get the understanding, yes, that emotion is conveyed in film, and we feel that, we experience that, so there's not much confusion there. We also see some photographs, and I guess I'm portraying each of you from where I am, and if you are more connected and know better how to do this than I have known in previous years, forgive me for lumping you in. I don't mean to make you believe that you're less just because I'm less. I have always struggled with, except for like the last 8, 9, 10 years, and still there's some lingering thoughts in my head of how do I convey emotion in this. There were some very key things that I was learning and were building in me because of how I was learning the technology advance within digital film, and using things like lighting techniques to be able to convey a feel or a mood. Now, let's break that down a little bit, because we're talking about breaking down emotion. Emotion is feeling. So, if you take a very basic definition of emotion, emotion is a state of feeling. And that state might be anger. That state might be, some people would call it depression. I would call that a lack of use of potential. That's not all depression, but that for this kind of within photography, usually a lack of use of potential or a lack of activity can convey depression. So all of these different points, emotion is a state of feeling. Video is not better than still. Video actually was produced from multiple exposures of stills to create a moving object, which we now know as movies. Two very quick points, and we'll sum up the video today. Number one, please, please, please forget any idea or indication in your thought process or your making yourself less capable of anything because you're in still photography, that video has any advantage over still. There's a lot of things that video layers on top to communicate that emotion. But really and truly, when you, as we've talked about before, bring a clarified message, a clean, clear message of that emotion, it is a lot easier to be able to convey and to show that emotion because you're not layering audio or text or other things on your image. And number two, film directors, and we're talking about how this works within film, so we can use the same process because it's this very same process. If we're going to go, okay, so how does that happen in the movie? How do I do that with my photography? We can break down the same process and principles of videography for photography. And we'll get into some of those reasons how that works in a little bit. Second point for today. A film director breaks down each scene. And if you have seen any videos of behind the scenes how a video is made, you will see that in their process, they have a process called storyboarding. So each of the key highlights of a video, movie that's being made, they will break down specific key emotions, key storyline details that have to be met and created or shown. Okay, so that's part of what we're looking at here. Emotion, how is that portrayed? How do they communicate that? Have you ever watched a movie where somebody goes, oh, well, this is about to happen, and it does? A very direct, good line of communication for their mindset was met. I've not been able to do that all the time, but there are things that I have picked up on that others I've been watching movies with did not. So don't feel like just because every person that views your photograph doesn't get the same thing is a problem. If we all looked at a photograph and all saw the same thing, there would not be the huge market available to us that we are in to be able to sell our images to. We would only have one market in that sense, not many markets, nearly as many as every human on the planet. So, take heart. Emotion is not impossible to convey in a still image without audio, without text, and everything else. The important piece of this is that the noise, the hullabaloo, well, we can talk about this in a later video, but the Foley, the sound effects added to videos can be crutches, even in video. So don't rely on, I don't have these things, so my photograph is subpar. It's not true. It really isn't true. A lot of times you will see people create images and other people look at it and go, oh, I could smell that, or oh, I can taste that, or oh my goodness, that reminds me. And when I think back to that place, I hear the waves on the beach, or I hear the birds singing, or I hear the wind rustling in the trees. Emotion is a very deep-seated thing in us humans, and it's a very, very good thing. So we need to learn as photographers. If you don't know, that's fine. We'll get there. Don't worry about it. But as photographers, if you are there, that's great. I really look forward to sharing some more things that I've learned in the years past, and I continue to learn as I continue to think and process what emotion is, how to convey it. Will help you even if you are communicating emotion well and properly and good and clearly, because I don't really believe we should ever stop learning. If we stop and we just continue doing what we do, we're losing touch with how other people learn and grow and are changing themselves. And then we become irrelevant because we're not learning and changing and growing either. So, thank you so much for watching. Please come back. This is only part one of 2 parts of this video breaking it down. And we will be going over a lot more tips about how emotion is created and whatever needs to happen, how it needs to happen, and what some of those things are, so that we can, well, I was going to say physically get, I mean, really and truly, if we're going to be capturing the image, we will physically be able to create or add the emotion into our photograph so that it becomes clear. And you want to put it in a sensory type of communication, palpable, something that you can taste, something that has texture, something you can feel. That's what we want to break down. That's what we want to understand so that we can start implementing that in our photography. Thank you so much for watching, and we look forward to seeing you come back. And if you are not yet a subscriber and part of the Photos photographer family, we would love to have you join us. Click that subscribe button, like the videos, and comment down below what you have learned from these. We would love it so much. Thank you so much for participating. God bless.